Hey, good afternoon, guys. It's 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. The sun is getting ready to go down because, yes, it is standard time. And it is about 56 degrees outside on this Sunday, November 23rd, 2025. We are 4 days away from Thanksgiving, or 3.5 days away, depending on how you look at it. And before I get started on this topic, I'd like to ask you guys to do me a solid favor, and that's like the video, ring the bell for notification, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Also, guys, if you would like to do me a favor, and that is another favor. I was just looking outside my window, checking something. Sorry for the distraction there. But if you guys would like to do me another favor outside of like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Also, guys, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at all your other favorite audio and video podcast platforms like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and to an extent, SiriusXM. Wherever there's a podcast to be found, you'll find mine there. Also, guys, if you'd like to do me a favor outside of that, you can click on other video outlets like Rumble.com, Odyssey.com, Dailymotion, and VENMO. You'll find me there as well with content similar to this one, but some content that may not be YouTube friendly. So check it out there if you would like. Also, guys, outside of that, I have a Patreon. I will let you know more about that very, very soon and what's going to be changing up on there. And also, guys, I have a Venmo and a Cash App. If you'd like to help donate there, it'd be greatly appreciated. And I do have an online store at Fourth Wall. That link is at the top, and at Teespring. That link is at the bottom. And I also, hopefully without any issue, do link a couple of items as well to the affiliated stores out there where you can basically earn a little commission here on the side. I recommend you do that as well if you want to have a little extra income come in, maybe for the holidays or past the holidays, depending on when you get paid through your monetization. You know how that is with the YT. But anyway, I also have those affiliated links in there as well, or affiliated links, basically items to look at for the holidays. If you want to check that out, that's up to you as well. It helped me out and it helps those stores out as well. Also, guys, outside of that, you can find me at all your favorite social media platforms. You can find me at TikTok, Twitter.com, aka X.com, and at Blue Sky. You can find me at DeviantArt as well at BVW1979, DeviantArt.com that is, and InkBunny.net at BWRoses. You can also, ladies and gentlemen, chime in during the live chat of this video premiere. That's right, this video premiere, you can chime in the live chat, give your thoughts on what I'm about to say here, as well as if you want to help out with the brand. Super chats are going to be open, so if you want to donate a super chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. And on both occasions, ladies and gentlemen, the comment section will be open. And what that means is during the video premiere and afterwards, you can give your comments on what I said here and everything during the premiere and afterwards. And also, if you're not here in time for the video premiere, but you still want to help donate, you can do so with the Super Thanks option. That's the little heart with the $sign. Now, with that said, let's get into the topic at hand. And this is something I've been thinking about talking about, but I figured, well, we're going into Thanksgiving, which is this Thursday. We all like to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and we know that that is essentially the start, the start of the holiday season. That's right. Some would say the holiday season already started with Halloween, but that's kind of like a pre-start. Some would say as soon as the Christmas music came on certain music channels on your cable online viewing options, if you're cable or online streaming, you name it, that's when the holiday season began, because they came on almost like 24 hours after Halloween ended. But some others would say that when an outlet like, say, MeTV or the spin-off MeTV TOONS decides to start giving the Christmas stuff out, at the first Saturday of November, that's when the holidays begin as well, when you start seeing the stores decorating a lot more going into this month. But with that said, speaking of MeTV TOONS, one of the Christmas programs / television movies that they were advertising, that they were going to show not once but twice, one of them was Yogi's First Christmas. Now, I'm someone that's enjoyed this movie many times. I, and I do apologize for that. That was my neighbor. So working on some cars right now. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, like I was saying, this is a movie that I've enjoyed many times throughout the holidays. I've watched it and was when it came on to TNT, TBS back in the 90s. Obviously, I probably did watch it back when I was a kid when it came on in syndication and then on TBS back in the 80s. And I also ended up watching it, at least getting a copy of it, I should say, on VHS. Well, at least I recorded it onto VHS where I lived on my own in the 2000s. And then basically, hold on for a sec, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. I was just checking something. But, I obviously recorded it onto VHS when I started living on my own in the 2000s. And I put it onto DVD. It's part of some of my various annual holiday DVDs that I recorded DVDs that I did throughout the years, where every year I would dedicate a couple of DVDs, maybe try to break a record of how many I'm gonna use throughout the holidays to record certain Christmas programming, if you will, not just Christmas programming, but Thanksgiving and Halloween as well. And sometimes I would try to break the record in doing that. And I think the most I did one year was 15. But anyway, it would be part of that. I ended up getting it officially thanks to Frank Hill. It's Frank. And even before then, I ended up getting the movie on its own, I think through a torrent. I think it was a torrent or something. I ended up getting it, and then I ended up burning it onto DVD. I think it might have been that way. Or it might have been actually no. Actually, it was through Netflix. It was through Netflix, and they were still doing DVDs and Blu-ray rentals. I ended up basically using DVD Fab 6, that is, which was a software to burn the DVD, a copy of it to a DVD plus R, and thus, I was able to have it. And again, this was before Frank Hill sent it to me officially, which is a much more cleaner copy. It's a lot more cleaner, a lot more decent, if you will, than a DVD Fab version. Not saying DVD Fab never did a good job or any of those kind of softwares of similar nature, except because of the fact that you still could watch it and all that. But here it's like coming straight from the source. It is a lot better viewing experience. But the reason I bring this up, as I check my time here, the reason I bring this up at 7 minutes and 50 seconds is because this year, Yogi's First Christmas, for the second year, like I said, the second year, because I mentioned this when I mentioned what the Christmas specials were coming out and everything, back a couple of weeks ago. But basically, Yogi's First Christmas, when it got advertised and everything, of course, a lot of people like myself was excited to see it, as well as DVR it if we didn't get a chance to see it, right? So we're all excited about that. Well, here's what's interesting though. Apparently, unlike before, because as far as I know, and this is from personal viewing experience, as far as I know, never once when it was on TBS, never once when it was on TNT, never once when it was on Boomerang, never once when it was on demand on Boomerang, with the streaming service and all that. Never once was this movie, this special, if you will, never once was it altered, never once was it edited, as far as I know. Because as far as I know, I would watch it intact. I mean, this is how basically one of the videos I once had on my channel, but I took down due to reasons of, falsehood, because as I acknowledged a couple of years ago when I was working at Target, apparently, I think it was when I was still working at Target, but apparently somebody did a falsification, on my channel of, oh, you're this and this and this and this is wrong, started doing false copyrights, and apparently I found out I wasn't the only one that fell for this, and as I've noted before, the reason for that issue was a bunch of trolls. It's just a bunch of probably kids or something like that playing a prank or something like that because they want attention or they want extortion or whatever. I don't know what the reason was, but thankfully thank the Lord, YouTube and Google has fixed that. And I have not heard of anything about. I have not heard anything about that since. Since happening. Thank God for that. But point is, the Mistletoe song was one of the videos, one of the clips I had on my channel, and it was doing very well. But I took it down for reasons. I didn't want to get in trouble. Okay, I didn't want to get in trouble. Basically, I didn't want to take a chance. So I took it down. And I'm not going to put it back up. If anybody's wondering, I'm not going to put it back up. I don't want to risk anything. Okay? Not just because it's Warner Brothers and all that, but I just don't want to risk anything, period. Alright? That's just my opinion. But to get on point here, when I would watch this movie, it would always be intact. There would be nothing cut out, as far as I knew. I think maybe, now that I think about it though, I think maybe just one time. I think maybe once or twice. It might have been on one of the TNT versions. It might have been one of the TNT broadcasts, I should say, that it did cut a few songs out. It did cut a few songs out, but it didn't cut out this one specific song. It cut out a few songs, but that's it. And I think it was because of timing restraints, due to the fact that I think they were showing it after they were showing NBA basketball or something. I'm not really sure. But what happened is, I think because the basketball game may have gone into overtime or something like that, or whatever they were showing went a little longer than it should have, basically they had to reduce the time on the special, and so they had to cut some things out to fit it in, if you know what I mean. But basically, outside of those one or two occasions, as far as I know, never once did I see this special edited to a point that any songs were missing. I did not see any songs missing, period, whatsoever. I did not see any songs missing, period, whatsoever, as far as I know. As far as I know. Excuse me. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people have noticed with the recent MeTV Toon airings of Yogi's First Christmas, not just this year, but apparently last year as well, but mostly this year they've been noticing it. It seems that Yogi's First Christmas, Cindy's Mistletoe song, her Mistletoe song, the very, I guess you could say from a comedic standpoint, even for animation back then, risque song, if you will, her Mistletoe song, along with It's Coming Up Christmas Time and Hope, which was sung by Boo Boo. Those three songs apparently were missing from the recent broadcast. Now, what's crazy about that is you would think MeTV Toons is advertising this, and they're deciding, hey, we're going to cut out this one song after. I mean, think about this. Think about this, okay? Let's say they show. I mean, obviously, the scene that leads into, Cindy singing that song, it has to be in there. How is that going to be viewed? Is it going to go to a commercial and everything, or are they just going to transition real quickly to her wanting to show Yogi something and all that? And it makes you wonder, why would they take that out? And again, as I mentioned earlier, maybe the reason being is the same reason. And I looked this up on Google too. And a lot of people on Facebook, at the MeTV Toons Facebook page, also mentioned this, that it has to be due to time restraints. It's not a copyright music licensing issue, although that could be one of the reasons. But it's mostly a time restraint deal. It's like, because we got to remember, MeTV Toons is not just something you find on FrndlyTV, Philo TV, Dish Network streaming streaming outlet, or DirecTV streaming outlet. And, it's not just something you find on those those options, but it's also an over-the-air and cable channel network. That's what it is. It's an OTA and cable television network. At the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what it is. So what that means essentially is they got to abide by the networks. They got to abide by the over-the-air stations that's airing them. That's letting their channel, this extra channel they have, being utilized now for MeTV Toons. They got to abide by what they say. They got to abide by what Spectrum's telling them, what Xfinity Comcast is telling them, and so on. They got to abide by that. And you probably ask yourself, well, what's the point of airing any of these movies, whether they're an hour and a half, whatever? What's the point of airing them during the holiday season if you're not going to air them complete, uncut and complete? It doesn't make sense. And it's true, and that's true, it doesn't make sense, but again, it's due to time restraints. It's due to time restraints. The other reason I think they do it as well is because they realize that Yogi's First Christmas is one of those specials out there that you can find on you can find basically digitally and physically to purchase. You can find it digitally to purchase, like on Fandango and Google Play and iTunes, if you will, and Comcast Xfinity, Amazon Prime, you name it. You can find it on those outlets, purchase it, and get it the way it's meant to be seen. Same with the physical copies you can find online. You could do that as well, and you would get it all intact. That's another reason why movies like this get that treatment. They get that treatment because of the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that they know that people have other means of watching it. Like me, I have the digital version. I have both physical and digital versions of this movie. I do. I can go to Fandango and watch it right now if I want to. I can go and get my DVD out of my dresser, if you will, where I have it packed away. Pick it, pick it out, put it into my Blu-ray player, and watch it in 4K. Yeah, because just in case you guys don't know, a little side note, when you put a DVD or a Blu-ray in there that's 720 and 1080p, if not 480p, the 4K Ultra Blu-ray players convert the signal to your television, if your television's 4K, into a 4K signal. Thus, you get a 4K at 60 frames per second SDR signal. Thus, you get a little bit more, I guess you could say, cleanliness. You get a little bit more of a clearer, if not, almost like it's all new, very freshly, new coat of paint version of, or picture, I should say, not version, but picture coming at you because of that conversion. But anyway, to get back on track, I have the movie. I can do that. I have it on digital. I can, go to Fandango, put it on. I have these options. I can go to Prime Video, which I think is airing it for free, I think, and I can put it on. Point is, there are other options, and I think that's why outlets like MeTV TOONS does what they do. They basically say, hey, we know this is probably not going to be the way that people originally envisioned it, or grew up with it and all that. That's fine. But guess what? We're still going to show it because we know they can, if they want to get the full context, they'll get the movie, they'll get the movie out if they have it, or they'll buy the movie, physically or digitally and have it like that. They know that. They know that's, an option, excuse me there, an option that, people have. I was just looking outside my front window. Our neighbor works on cars on the side. If not as a full-time business, I don't know. And apparently one of the cars he's working on is parked right in the middle of the street, so I don't know if, my family, if they would have come to visit, could get into the area to park and all that. But anyway, getting back on point. Like I said, they know it's an option people have. They know it's an option people have, when it comes to a movie like this. Now, I don't know if this is done to any other specials. I don't know if they did the Flintstone Christmas special, Christmas Carol adaptation. I don't think they did. Because, when it comes to a Christmas Carol, you want to make sure you have that intact no matter what the situation. You want to make sure you give that the best treatment. So I don't know if that's intact. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure the original 1970s Christmas special is intact. Again, the number one thing that I'm reading about isn't just because it's musical license rights and all that, but it's mostly timing. You gotta realize that some of these songs go for a good 2 to 3 minutes. On average, they go for about a good 2 to 3 minutes. Cindy's is almost about 2 minutes, right? Just about 2 minutes or under that. So you're thinking, well, that shouldn't be an issue, but if you're trying to cram this in, to make sure it fits within the time schedule, so that way when it's done, you have plenty of time for the next special or for your regular scheduled program to resume, then you're going to basically want to make sure that not only do you have plenty of time, but you're going to want to make sure that you fit that time crunch by having to do something that may piss a lot of folks off. But again, like I said earlier, that they can rectify by looking up and buying digitally, if not physically, the movie itself. And thus they get it the way they've been or the way they know it's meant to be seen. Or as they grew up with it. So that's one of the. So unfortunately, this is one of the things that we have to deal with when it comes to MeTV Toons or outlets like them. That even though they're doing us a great service by bringing in all these classic cartoons from the past century, if you will, for the past almost 100 years, because yes, they do have cartoons on there that have been around for 100 years. As a matter of fact, one of the things they're going to be doing annually this Friday, because Friday is known as Black Friday, officially. I mean, we know stores are online and in-store. We know outlets are doing Black Friday sales already. I mean, some of the AI services I'm a part of is doing Black Friday sales already. Basically, we know officially, for a lot of the good ones, the good deals, that all starts on Black Friday this Friday, right? If not at midnight if not midnight going into Black Friday, right? We know that. But the reason I bring this up is because MeTV Toons is going to continue this tradition they started last year, where they're going to be showing nothing but black and white cartoons, including some classic Tom and Jerry. And we're not talking the cat and mouse. We're talking the OG Tom and Jerry black and white characters from back in the day. That's how far back cartoon-wise this station, goes when providing classic, animation. Over 100 years of it, or just about 100 years. And so, to get back on track, though, even though, like I said, they're doing us a great service by doing that, we also have to realize that they're the kind of network that will cut corners. I mean, they're also one of the kind of networks, that being regular broadcasting overall, that looks at the fact that basically, one of the ways that they can keep the lights on, if you will, one of the ways they keep the lights on, and all that, one of the ways they do that is by basically, long story short, allowing commercials to run, as long as they have to. By allowing the commercials to run and be a priority at times, even though it's annoying, that helps them basically keep the lights on, keep the water going, keep everything, basically keep the overall aesthetics that they need, alive and well, if you will, if you know what I mean. So that's why, that's another reason. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to get the right words to say here. That's why it's another reason why they do this, why they cut out certain things, from Christmas specials like Yogi's First Christmas. So, honestly, is it basically something that they should not do? Yes, it's something they should not do. If you're going to advertise Yogi's First Christmas, if you're going to advertise Flintstone Christmas, if you're going to advertise, 'tis the season to be Smurfy, you're going to advertise, the Christmas Carol Flintstone edition, you're going to do all that, you need to make sure that when you're advertising it, that you're advertising it either as, what people expect it to be, and that's uncut and intact, or what you need to do is you need to let people know at the beginning that what they're going to watch is a modified version. Now, I'm sure they probably do, and when they do give that warning of, hey, this version's been modified from its original version, that at least lets people know, yeah, things have changed. Certain things have been changed. That's why when you see some of these like PG-13 R-rated movies in the past and currently making their network, debuts, on ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, you name it. That's why when you see before the beginning of them, it says, hey, this movie's been, modified from its original version. At least they're letting you know that they've changed something to basically be in line with, the broadcasting standards of the network or the channel that's showing the movie on. So to me, hopefully they've done that, because if they've done that, then fine, it's understandable. You have to take some things out due to time restraints. But if they didn't, and they just flat out, they just flat out basically put the movie on, and all of a sudden this thing's missing, then that's on them, and they need to fix that. They need to fix that going into next year. Now, I don't know if they're going to be showing Yogi's First Christmas again. I think they are. I got to check. But if they are, and they listen to this, hopefully they do us a favor, guys. Either put the little warning at the beginning saying it's been modified, or just let it run as it's supposed to run. Let it be shown as it's supposed to be shown. Don't leave nothing out. Let people see it as it's originally meant to be seen. I get it. You like your commercials. You like, the commercials that help you keep the lights on and everything. I get it. I understand that. We understand that, yes, we are also, because some people even point this out, we're in this PC, council culture, woke world that thankfully is, basically coming to an end and everything. Thankfully it's coming to an end, but we all understand we're still feeling the effects of that. That's still being, noticeable across the country, and it's affecting a lot of things. So we understand that maybe taking out certain songs or certain song sequences, like Cindy's Mistletoe song, yeah, that might, we understand that there's a reason for it. We do. But at the end of the day, if you're going to advertise something, you need to let them know, maybe in a little subtext, it's going to be modified, so some songs might be cut out, and then leave it at that. That way people will be like, okay, I'm still going to get to see it, just not the way, not the way I originally first saw it, or have been seeing it over the past several years. That way they can basically go back afterwards and say, you know what, it was good seeing it, but I'm going to go watch it the way I remember it, and that way they can pop in the DVD, or turn on the digital version they have, and they're good to go. They're good to go. So, long story short, guys, I get that people are not happy with this. I do. Long story short, I get people are not happy with this. I truly do get it. But we have to understand that this is just one of those situations to where MeTV Toons, a regular broadcasting network, if you will, station, they are one of those kind of people or networks that will basically, at the end of the day, value the money that commercials bring in over anything else to keep those lights on, as well as also try to basically please a certain culture out there, if that's the case, with not showing certain things, even if they're not that bad. But also, they're the kind that basically want to get everything in there within the time restraint that they have for this Christmassy block, that they're having every Sunday and Saturday. So at the end of the day, guys, it's a dumb move. I'll admit that. It is a dumb move, but it's something we just have to deal with. And the silver lining, though, and again, I mentioned this earlier, MeTV Toons knows this, the silver lining is that we, as fans of the movie, we that grew up on the movie, we know that we can watch it as it's originally first seen and broadcast, with the help of the physical versions or digital versions we have of it. And a lot of people have even said that if you don't want to pay money for a physical you don't want to pay money for a digital version, but you want to have it, go to Internet Archive, you can find it there. Go to Internet Archive, you can find it there. So, yeah. In closing, it's a shame that they do cut these things out, but it's just something we got to deal with. And if we have access to the original, whether it's through an outlet like Internet Archive, or we own the original, whether it's physical or digital like I do, then I don't think we have nothing to really worry about. All we have to do is just tolerate it, enjoy it, DVR it, and say, hey, here's this version of it that we have that basically is kind of like not chopped up, but just edited down because of time restraints and whatever. And then we can also say, yeah, we have that, but we can also proudly say that even though we have that, we can make a comparison if we want to the original we have, and enjoy the original as it was meant to be seen. if that makes any sense. But yeah, it is a shame, but it's just something we got to deal with. And hopefully, if MeTV TOONS is listening, yeah, then listening to this, if they're listening, they're watching, listening to this. Again, if you guys are going to show this before Christmas gets here, before your "'Tis the Season to Be Tunes" is over, do yourself a favor, do everybody else a favor. Make sure the next time you show this movie, that basically, long story short, the next time you show this, that you show it either with a warning at the beginning, a message at the beginning saying it's been modified from the original version, or you just let it be shown as it was originally first seen, and that's uncut, untouched, and with the songs intact. And that's all and that's all you have to do. And that's a message to MeTV TOONS if they're listening. But anyway, though, guys, that's all I can say on it right now. Let me know what your thoughts are if you haven't already in the live chat during the video premiere. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Love to hear you. Love to hear your thoughts. Excuse me, almost had a brain fart there. Love to hear your thoughts on this and everything. How do you feel about it? Do you agree with some of the things I've said? Let me know. I do apologize if it sounds like I rambled. Again, I'm looking outside the front window because I'm a little distracted. One of our neighbors has some family over, and our other neighbor who works on cars on the side is one of the cars in the middle of the street. So yeah, it's just one of those situations to where, like, yeah, thankfully I put the garbage out when I could, and hopefully things won't be like this tomorrow. But anyway though, guys, let me know, like I said, what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, as well as in the live chat if you did that already. Thank you very much. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section on this. Do you agree? Not agree? Let me know. And until next time, guys, I will talk to you later. But until then, God bless. Take care. And again, I do apologize for the distractions and rambling, but that's how it goes when you're someone like me. But until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later.